My son thought I didn't know he was stealing my house. At 3 a.m., I transferred the deed back. You won't believe what happened next. I transferred the house deed back into my name at 3 a.m. that morning. My hands were steady as I signed the papers in my lawyer's home office. The only sound, the scratch of pen on paper and the distant hum of his wife's oxygen machine upstairs. Marcus had no idea what I just done. He thought the house was already his. Let me back up. My name is Robert Chen. I'm 67 years old and until 6 months ago, I thought I had a good son. Not a perfect son, but a good one. Marcus was my only child. His mother, my late wife Diana, passed away 3 years ago from pancreatic cancer. It was sudden, brutal, the kind of death that leaves you hollow. Marcus seemed devastated. He flew in from Seattle where he'd been living with his wife Jennifer and their 2 kids. He held my hand at the funeral. He gave a beautiful eulogy. He stayed for 2 weeks afterward helping me sort through Diana's things, making sure I ate, checking that I took my blood pressure medication. Then he went back to Seattle and I was alone in our 4-bedroom house in Portland, Oregon. The house Diana and I had bought in 1985 for $90,000. The house that's now worth $1.2 million, sitting in a neighborhood that gentrified around us while we weren't paying attention. For 2 years, I managed. I had my routines. Coffee at 6 a.m., walk to the park, lunch with my friend Bernard, volunteer work at the library on Tuesdays. I video called Marcus every Sunday. He'd tell me about his job in tech sales, about how my grandchildren Emma and Tyler were doing in school, about Jennifer's part-time work as a yoga instructor. Everything seemed fine until last March. That's when Marcus called on a Wednesday, not a Sunday. "Dad," he said, his voice tight. "I need to talk to you about something serious." My first thought was health. Cancer like Diana. But no, I lost my job. He said the whole division got cut. "I've been looking for 3 months, Dad. Nothing. And Jennifer, her studio closed. We're burning through savings. The kids' school tuition is due. The mortgage is killing us." I felt that parental instinct kick in. The one that never dies. No matter how old your child gets, how much do you need? I asked. There was a long pause. "Dad, it's not just about money. It's bigger than that. We're thinking, Jennifer and I, maybe we should move back to Portland. The cost of living in Seattle is insane. And you're alone in that big house. What if you fell? What if something happened?" He painted the picture carefully. Logically, they'd move into the house, help with expenses. I wouldn't be alone. The grandkids could have a yard. Marcus could take his time finding the right job, not just any job. I don't need taken care of. I said more sharply than I intended. I know, Dad. I know. But wouldn't it be nice having family around? Diana would have wanted that. He invoked her name like a key to a lock. And it worked. They moved in last April. Marcus, Jennifer, Emma, Tyler. Suddenly, my quiet house was full of noise. Cartoon shows. Jennifer's wellness podcasts playing in the kitchen. Tyler's saxophone practice. It was chaotic, but also, I admit, it felt good at first. It felt alive. Marcus took over the master bedroom. I moved into the smaller guest room. "Just temporarily, Dad," he said. "Until we figure things out." I didn't argue. It seemed petty to argue about bedrooms when your son's family needed help. The first month was fine. Marcus helped with yard work. Jennifer cooked dinners. The kids were polite. We were a family again. But small things started to bother me. I noticed Marcus going through the mail before I saw it. When I asked about it, he said, "Just making sure bills don't slip through the cracks. Dad, you know how it is. Sometimes things get overlooked." I found Jennifer taking photos of the house, rooms, the backyard, the renovated kitchen Diana and I had done in 2019. For Instagram, she said brightly. My followers love home decor. Marcus started talking about the house's value a lot. Dad, did you see the Morrison place sold for 1.4? Before. This neighborhood is insane right now. You're sitting on a gold mine. One evening in May, Marcus brought up the estate planning. We were in the living room and he had a folder, a thick folder. Dad, I was talking to a financial advisor. You don't have a living trust, do you? I have a will. I said a will has to go through probate. It's a mess. Takes months, sometimes years. Costs a fortune in legal fees. A living trust avoids all that. He opened the folder. I had some papers drawn up, just a basic framework. Everything would still be yours obviously, but when the time comes, it transfers smoothly. No probate, no hassle. The papers looked official. There was a sticky note where I was supposed to sign. Something in my gut clenched. Diana used to say I had good instincts about people. I'll need to have my own lawyer look at this, I said. Marcus's face did something just for a second. A flicker of annoyance before the concerned son mask slipped back on. Of course, Dad. Absolutely. I just thought, save some money. These things are expensive. But yeah, whatever makes you comfortable. I didn't sign that night. The next day, I called Arnold Greenspan. Arnold had been our family lawyer for 30 years. He'd drawn up our original wills, handled the paperwork when we bought the house, represented us when a contractor tried to screw us over in 2008. Robert Arnold said when I described the situation, don't sign anything without bringing it to me first, and I mean anything. I made an appointment for the following week, but I didn't tell Marcus. That's when I started paying attention. Really paying attention. I noticed Marcus had added himself to my bank account just in case, Dad. What if you're in the hospital and someone needs to pay bills? He'd done it with my debit card while I was napping one afternoon. I saw the bank statement. I noticed Jennifer going through the filing cabinet in my home office looking for the warranty on the dishwasher. She said the dishwasher was fine. I noticed conversations stopping when I entered rooms. One night, I couldn't sleep. It was 2 a.m. and I went downstairs for water. I heard voices in the kitchen. Marcus and Jennifer speaking in those harsh whispers people use when they don't want to be heard, but they're angry. We can't wait 5 more years. Jennifer was saying, Emma needs braces. Tyler needs a tutor. Your dad could live to 90. My mother lived to 93. Keep your voice down. That was Marcus. I'm just saying we need to accelerate this. The trust papers are ready. If he just signs them, he wants his own lawyer to look at them. Then we need a different approach. I stood in the hallway. My heart doing things it shouldn't do at my age. What kind of different approach? Marcus asked. There are ways. My friend Cheryl, her dad had dementia. She got power of attorney. Said he couldn't make decisions anymore. Got him into a facility, sold his house. Perfectly legal. Dad doesn't have dementia, but does anyone know that he's 67? He lives alone. He forgets things. If a doctor evaluated him and found he couldn't manage his affairs, Jesus, Jen, I'm not saying we do anything bad. I'm saying we protect him. Protect us. This house is wasting away with him in it. He doesn't even use half the rooms. We could sell it, get him a nice assisted living place, use the rest to set ourselves up. It's smart planning, Marcus. It's what responsible children do. I went back upstairs. I didn't sleep. The next morning, I called Arnold from my car, parked at the coffee shop on Hawthorne. I need to see you today, I said. Emergency. Arnold cleared his schedule. I brought him the trust papers Marcus had given me. Arnold read them with the kind of expression doctors have when they find something wrong on an X-ray. "Robert," he said slowly, "if you sign this, you effectively transfer ownership of your house and all your assets into a trust where Marcus is the trustee. You'd have no legal claim to anything. He could sell the house tomorrow and you couldn't stop him. But it says I'm the beneficiary during your lifetime." "Yes, but the trustee, which is Marcus, has full discretion over distributions. Meaning he decides how much you get and when. If he decides you need to be in a nursing home, he can put you there. You'd have no say." I felt cold. That can't be legal. It's legal if you sign willingly. That's why these documents are dangerous in the wrong hands. "Robert, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Do you feel safe in your home right now?" I thought about those 2 a.m. whispers, about Jennifer photographing my house, about Marcus going through my mail, about the way they both watched me sometimes like I was a problem that needed solving. "I don't know," I said. Arnold leaned forward. "Here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to make sure all your assets are protected. I'm going to draw up new documents, a real living trust with you as trustee with provisions that can't be changed without your explicit consent and a neutral third party's verification. Second, I'm going to put you in touch with someone. His name is Frank Delmonico. He's a private investigator. He specializes in elder financial abuse. I don't need Robert. Listen to me. What you've described, what's in these papers, this is a pattern. I've seen it before. It starts small. Moving in to help, taking over finances, isolating you from friends, then it escalates. I need you to take this seriously." I met Frank Delmonico 2 days later. He was in his 50s. Ex-cop. The kind of guy who looked like he'd seen everything and wasn't impressed by any of it. "How long have they been in your house?" he asked. 2 months. "Have they tried to limit your contact with friends? Made it difficult for you to go places?" I thought about it. "Marcus always offers to drive me places now. Says I shouldn't drive as much at my age and he's been funny about Bernard. My friend makes comments about how Bernard talks too much. Tires me out." Frank nodded like I'd confirmed something. Classic isolation. "What about your finances? Do they know how much you have?" I never discussed specifics, but Marcus has been asking about pension, about savings, about the house value, and the house. "You own it outright. Paid it off in 2012. Frank pulled out a legal pad. "Here's what I think is happening. They're building a case for diminished capacity. The talk about you forgetting things. The suggestion you need oversight. The power of attorney play. If they can get a doctor to say you're not competent, they can take control even if you're perfectly fine. How do we stop it? We document everything. I'm going to install some small cameras in your house. Audio recording is legal in Oregon as long as one party consents and that's you. We're going to record their conversations when you're not around. We're going to establish a pattern. Then when we have enough, we go to Adult Protective Services and possibly the police." The police. Financial exploitation of an elderly person is a crime in Oregon. "Robert. If they're attempting to defraud you of your property, that's a felony." I sat there in Frank's office and I thought about Marcus as a little boy. Marcus learning to ride a bike. Marcus at his high school graduation. Marcus crying at his mother's funeral. "Are you sure?" I asked. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe they're just stressed about money. Frank's expression softened. "Mr. Chen, I know this is hard, but in my experience, people don't draw up fraudulent trust documents because they're stressed. They do it because they've made a decision about what's more important, their parent or their financial situation. I'm sorry, but you need to protect yourself." We installed 3 small cameras over the next week. One in the kitchen, one in the living room, one in the hallway outside my bedroom. Frank also gave me a recording device that looked like a pen. Keep this in your pocket, he said. For 2 weeks, I watched and recorded, and what I found broke something in me. On camera when I was at the library. Marcus and Jennifer went through my office systematically. They photographed documents. They made copies of bank statements. Jennifer found my password notebook. Diana had insisted I write them all down. And they took pictures of every page. I heard Marcus on the phone with someone saying, "Yeah, we need a neurologist who will do an evaluation." Someone sympathetic. He's showing signs. Definitely. Forgetfulness, confusion about dates, trouble with financial decisions. I wasn't showing any of those signs. I was sharp as I'd ever been. Jennifer talked to her friend Cheryl on speakerphone. We've got maybe 3 months before he figures out what we're doing. If we can get the capacity evaluation done, get him declared incompetent. We can move fast, sell the house, put him somewhere. The market's hot right now. We could clear 800,000 after everything. 800,000, that's what I was worth to them. That's what our relationship had been reduced to. The worst was when Emma, my 12-year-old granddaughter, asked Marcus, "Is Grandpa really sick? You keep saying he forgets things, but he seems okay to me." Marcus's response. "Grandpa's getting old, sweetie. Sometimes people seem fine, but they're not. We're taking care of him. Don't worry about it." He was teaching her to lie. Teaching her that using people was acceptable if you needed money. I called Arnold. "I have everything." I said, "Hours of recordings. What do we do?" We met with Frank and Arnold together. They reviewed the evidence. Then Arnold made some calls. "We have 2 options," Arnold said. 1, we go to the police now, file a criminal complaint for attempted financial exploitation. 2, we wait. See how far they'll go. Build an airtight case. "I want them out of my house," I said. "Then here's the plan," Frank said. "We're going to set up a situation where they make their move. We're going to give them an opportunity to show their intentions, and we're going to have everything documented." Here's what we did. I called a family meeting, told Marcus and Jennifer I'd been thinking about their trust. Suggestion that I'd had a bad scare, thought I might have had a mini stroke, felt confused that maybe they were right. Maybe I needed help managing things. Jennifer's eyes lit up. Actually lit up. "We just want what's best for you, Dad," Marcus said, taking my hand. His hand was cold. "I know," I said. "I've been stubborn, but I'm ready to sign the papers. I trust you." We scheduled it for that Friday. Arnold, playing his part, had drawn up new documents that looked identical to the fraudulent trust papers, but were actually nothing. They'd transfer nothing. They were a test. That Thursday night, I pretended to go to bed early. Feeling tired, I told them, "Big day tomorrow." At midnight, I crept down the hallway. The camera was rolling. I heard them celebrating. "It's done." Jennifer was saying, "After tomorrow, the house is basically ours. We can start the sale process next month. I already talked to that realtor, Stephanie. She says we can list at 1.3. Probably get close to that." "What about Dad?" That was Marcus. "What about him?" "We put him in Riverside Gardens. It's nice enough. Costs like $4,000 a month, but whatever. We'll have plenty. Marcus, we're going to be okay. Finally, no more struggling. Emma's braces. Tyler's tutoring. The trip to Hawaii. We've been putting off. We can breathe. He's going to be upset. He's old. He'll adjust. Old people adjust. And honestly, he's been declining anyway. This is best for everyone." I stood in that hallway and I felt something I'd never felt before toward my son. Not anger, not betrayal, something colder. Resolve. Friday morning came. Arnold arrived at 10 a.m. Marcus and Jennifer were dressed nicely, professional, playing their parts. But I'd invited other people, too. Detective Sarah Morrison from Portland PD, Adult Protective Services investigator James Chen, no relation, and Bernard, my friend, who happened to be a retired circuit court judge. Marcus saw them coming up the walk. His face went white. "Dad, what's going on?" "Sit down, Marcus," I said. My voice was steady, calm. "We need to talk." I'd prepared a script with Arnold. I didn't deviate from it. Over the past 2 months, I've been investigating suspicious activity regarding my finances and property. I've collected evidence of attempted financial exploitation, fraud, and conspiracy to illegally obtain my assets. Jennifer stood up. "This is ridiculous. We've been helping." "Sit down, Mrs. Chen." Detective Morrison said it wasn't a suggestion. "We played the recordings, all of them. The conversations about getting me declared incompetent. The plans to sell the house. The discussion of nursing homes." Marcus and Jennifer's faces went from white to red to gray. Emma started crying. Tyler looked confused. I hated that they had to see this, but it was necessary. Under Oregon law, Detective Morrison said, financial exploitation of an elderly person is a Class B felony. Attempted fraud is also prosecutable. Mr. Chen has provided sufficient evidence for us to proceed with charges. "Dad." Marcus's voice was strangled. "Dad, please. We weren't actually going to." "You were," I said. "You absolutely were. You planned every detail." Arnold spoke up. "Mr. Marcus Chen and Mrs. Jennifer Chen, you are hereby served with an eviction notice. You have 72 hours to vacate these premises. All documents you removed from Mr. Chen's office must be returned. All financial accounts you accessed without authorization are being frozen and investigated." James Chen from APS added, "We'll also be conducting a full audit of Mr. Chen's finances to determine if any funds have been misappropriated." Jennifer finally broke. "You manipulative old man," she spat. "You played us. You set us up." "I protected myself," I said. "From my own family, from people I loved and trusted. Do you understand what you've done? Not just the legal part. Do you understand that you destroyed this family for money, for a house?" Marcus was crying now. Real tears, maybe. "Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We were desperate. The pressure, the bills. I wasn't thinking clearly. You thought clearly enough to plan this for months. You thought clearly enough to poison your children's view of their grandfather. You thought clearly enough to decide I was worth $800,000 to you. $800,000, Marcus. That's the number I heard. Is that what I am to you? A real estate transaction? The police didn't arrest them that day. Financial crimes moved slowly, but Detective Morrison made it clear that charges were pending. Marcus and Jennifer packed their things over the weekend. Emma hugged me goodbye, crying. "I didn't know, Grandpa. I promise I didn't know." "I know, sweetheart," I said. "This isn't your fault." Tyler just looked scared. He was 9, too young for this ugliness. They moved out on Sunday. The house was suddenly quiet again, devastatingly quiet. The legal process took 4 months. Marcus and Jennifer were formally charged with attempted financial exploitation and conspiracy to commit fraud. Their public defender negotiated a plea deal, 5 years probation, restitution of legal costs, mandatory financial counseling, and a restraining order keeping them away from me. No jail time. Arnold advised me that was typical for first-time offenders who didn't actually succeed in stealing anything. The system isn't perfect. He said the civil case was different. I sued them for emotional distress, attempted fraud, and invasion of privacy. Won a judgment for $75,000. They'll be paying that off for years, but the money doesn't matter. None of it matters. I sit in my house now. The house Diana and I built our life in. And I'm alone again. Bernard visits. Arnold checks in. I have my routines back. Coffee at 6 a.m. Walk to the park, library on Tuesdays, but I don't call anyone on Sundays anymore. I don't have grandchildren who visit. I don't have a son who calls to check on me. Marcus sent a letter last month. He's in therapy. He said he's working on himself. He realizes what he did. He wants forgiveness eventually, not now. He knows it's too soon, but eventually I haven't responded. I don't know if I will. Here's what I've learned. Greed doesn't announce itself. It creeps in slowly. It dresses itself up as concern, as practicality, as love. It tells you it's doing what's best for everyone. It might even believe that the warning signs were there. I saw them. I felt them. That gut instinct Diana always talked about, but I ignored it because I wanted to believe in family. I wanted to believe my son was still the boy who held my hand at his mother's funeral. Maybe he was that boy once. Maybe the person on those recordings is someone else. Someone the pressure and stress turned him into. I don't know. I'll probably never know. What I do know is this. I protected myself. I did what I had to do and I do it again. If you're reading this, if you're in a similar situation, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Document everything. Get help from people who aren't emotionally involved. Protect yourself, even if it means protecting yourself from family, especially if it means that because at the end of the day, you only get one life, one home, one sense of self, and nobody, not even your own children, has the right to take that from you for money. I'm 67 years old. I transferred the house deed into an ironclad trust at 3 a.m. that morning with Arnold as successor trustee and Bernard as oversight. Nobody can touch it now. Nobody can manipulate me into giving it away. Marcus thought the house would be his. He was wrong. And every time I sit on my porch drinking my morning coffee watching the sun rise over the neighborhood Diane and I chose 40 years ago. I'm glad I fought back. I'm glad I stood up even if it cost me my son. Some things are worth more than money.